Welcome to the Dental Decoders podcast. I'm your host, Brittany Rogars, and I'm here to help you crack the code on all things dental operations. Each week, we dive into topics to help you overcome roadblocks, streamline operations, and reduce team burnout. Whether you're an owner, a practice manager, or a team member, this podcast is for you. Join us for insightful discussions, engaging interviews, and practical tips. So sit back and relax as we crack the code on all things dental operations together.
Hello to our listeners here. We've got another episode of Dental Decoders, and we are so excited to have Gary Bird with us today. Gary, thanks so much for being here with us.
Absolutely. My pleasure. I'm super excited to have this conversation with you today.
We are too. We know we're going to be diving into all sorts of amazing topics with you. As we all know, you bring so much into the dental industry, and we appreciate all that you do for all of us. So for those that may be under a rock sometimes, can you tell us a little bit about you, how you got started in dentistry, and what you're doing today?
Absolutely. So I have a podcast called Dental Marketing Theory, and you're actually coming on it in a couple of weeks. And I always ask the guests, how did they get into the dental industry? And so all the non-dental folks are all here by accident. That's the thing that I've found. There's nobody out there. I'm in dental marketing. And so there's nobody out there when they're a kid and says, hey, when I grow up, I want to be a dental marketer. For me, I started working with some businesses. They referred me to some dentists. The dentist that I actually worked with was in a really competitive market, and they were able to 4X in size from our marketing. And I just thought, oh, this is easy. Everything's going to be like this. They referred me to some other people. I found out very quickly that it's not easy, and there's a lot of complications, and not all dental offices are created equal. And so we started working with other dental offices, and then eventually we only worked with dentists. So we split the agency in half. And over the last couple of years, we've been on the Inc. 5000 fastest growing company list 3 years in a row out of all the companies in the United States, which is really cool. Not something we set out to do, but something that happened by it was a byproduct of working with amazing offices that are growing. And so that's what we do. And we consider ourselves, I call myself a marketing agency just so people understand, but we consider ourselves a growth partner. So what that means is we really try to work with people on working with them on what's blocking them from being successful. And I know that's some of the topics that we're going to talk about today, because so many people are stuck. They feel stuck. They can't grow, which means they can't hire, which means they can't do the things that they need to do. And so we're going to talk through some of that, which I'm really excited about.
Yes, we are too. Thank you so much. I think you gave us so much in a nutshell, and so many areas that we can definitely dive into today. So I do want to circle back on something that you just said, as far as there's so much happening in practices today. People are struggling to hire. And if they do, they're struggling and stretching those really great people that they have in their practices a little too thin, which then, of course, is causing burnout. And we kind of get into this little bit of a vicious cycle, I think. So kind of give us some tips if you can. I know we're going to kind of circle into several things kind of stemming from this, but let's get started there with you.
Yeah, let's first talk about what the actual problem is with dental offices. So pre-COVID, we'll do pre and post-COVID. So pre-COVID, offices were basically, to have a profitable dental practice, all you had to do was hit a certain new patient number. That was what most dental offices said, is if I hit my 50 new patients a month, I'm good. All my other numbers work out. And that was really people's main KPI, was just like 50 new patients and we're good. And now they're like, well, man, I'm hitting my 50 new patients, but the office isn't operating in the same capacity that it was before. So why is that? Well, everything's more expensive. So inflation hit businesses really, really hard. It hit patients as well. So patients aren't buying as much treatment as they were before. If you had an office that is not totally reliant on dental insurance, then you're going to have less people buying less treatment. You also had the cost of labor go up. So that really hits you close to home. And then insurance companies are paying less for the same work. So you're getting reimbursed less. So when you add all those things up, it's like, yes, you're making the same amount of money overall, but your bottom line, you're not making the same amount of money overall. You're not taking home the same amount of money. And that hurts. So then you're like, okay, what do we do to fix this? And the answer is, well, you need to market more, spend more money. And you need to hire more, spend more money. And you're like, I can't spend more money because I'm making less money. So that's a big problem. So there's a couple things that you can do, okay? And you have to grow your way out of this problem. This is the only way to do it, or sell your practice. Those are the two options that you have. Now, I get it. Some people are at the end of their career. Selling the practice probably sounds nice to them right about now, right? Rather than growing again and going through that motion again. And for other people, it's like, well, that's not an option right now. So let's talk about what I would do if I was a dentist. So if I was a dentist, the first thing that I would do is I would hire people that are cheaper. And what I mean by that is not employees, because the employees you're going to be paying, depending on where you're at in the country, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a month for each person. Because when you add up benefits and paid time off and taxes and all those kind of things, it gets really, really expensive. So I'm not talking about that. You have to grow your top of funnel. So you need to start at the top. So what is the first thing that a new patient encounters with your office when they call your office? It's your front desk. So how do we expand the opportunities at your front desk? That's the simplest way to grow. Right now in the dental industry, 35% of calls go unanswered during normal business hours. 35%. So that means you're losing 35% of your opportunities because you're just not answering the phone because you don't have enough manpower there. The average phone conversion is 50% for marketing new patients. So you're losing, if you're doing any marketing at all, or even if you just have, like, you're on Google and there's like people finding you through Google on accident, you're losing 80% of those opportunities because you don't have the right staffing at the front desk. So the easiest way to solve this is to work with somebody who hires a virtual assistant that isn't in your office, that's in another country. And I know dentists hate this, but let me just present my case, and then you can rip it to shreds after that. You hire somebody from another country, they speak English, they answer virtually. They're very little management, so you don't have a ton of management on them. You have a little bit, but not a ton. You don't have to pay taxes on them because it's just a straight business expense. So you don't have payroll taxes, you don't have health insurance, you don't have any of those kind of things, and it's just a flat cost every single month. And for between $1,000 to $2,000, you can get somebody who answers the phone for 40 hours a week for you. And they can also do other things, right? They can do billing, they can do insurance, those kind of things, right? I've tested this. These people convert at about the same rate as your office. Maybe not quite as good, but almost the same rate on marketing new patients, which are the hardest patients to convert. So we're talking about within a couple percentage. So you're not going to feel any difference between them and your office, especially when it comes to new patient calls. So you can have all the new patient calls go to them, schedule those people. So without spending very much more money, you're instantly going to open up the top of your funnel. What that's going to do is that's going to get more patients on your schedule, more patients into the office, and this is going to allow you to make a little bit more money. Now, you're not out of the woods yet. That little extra money that you have now you can start spending that on another hygienist or something else in your office, so that way you can open up capacity more, so that way you can actually start to see more new patients, so you can actually start to make more money. That is probably the fastest and easiest way to solve this problem. And then what that's going to do is it's going to reduce stress. It's going to reduce stress in your office because now you have the appropriate amount of people working in your office for the amount of work that you have, and that lowers everybody's stress and makes everybody happy, right? So that would be the easiest solution that I would offer to people.
Gary, you're literally speaking my love language right now.
That's awesome.
I am a huge advocate for virtual assistants. It's actually part of my coaching business, and I absolutely huge advocate for them. I'm absolutely with you 100%. And it's true, they can do a whole lot for your business. And honestly, like you mentioned, they are just a business expense. There's no taxes and those kind of things, but they are an employee, and you can train them. You can train them to be phenomenal for your practice. You can train them to answer that phone and be better at converting those new patient calls to be better than 50%, really, because all that marketing money that you spend to get those patients to call and come in the door, they can be better than 50%. And they can do hundreds of things for your practice. And, I'm sure in a couple of weeks when I'm on your podcast, we'll dive really deep into this because this really is my passion. So I'm with you. Virtual assistants are amazing, dedicated, loyal. they'll stay with you forever, and they definitely don't call in sick. So I love that. Love it, love it. So now we've kind of opened up our funnel. We've got it coming in. We hopefully, yes, reduce the stress off of our team members, which is, I guess, another big component in our practices today for the dentist and our team members, all of them, which is burnout. There's so much workload on them to do more, produce more, get more in, schedule more, work. How do we avoid some of this burnout? We've talked about virtual assistants, the funnel's open, coming in. What are some of the suggestions you make to teams when you're working with them on avoiding some of this burnout? How do we help our teams?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I can speak from personal experience as a business owner about burnout. So there was a time in my life where I really hated what I was doing. It was not fun to me, and I just didn't want to do it anymore. I wanted to figure out a way just to do something else, anything else. And I came to realize that it wasn't necessarily the things that I was doing. It was that I had a lack of opportunity to be able to do other things if I wanted to. So a lot of times when people post this question, like, how do you define like financial freedom, or how do you define, anything in that family? And what I always say is that you have the freedom to choose to do what you want to do when you want to do it. And so for me, I imagine in like a lot of dentists, I like working. Like I actually enjoy what I do, but I don't like doing the same things for long periods of time. And I really feel for some of these dentists, because as dentists have the highest suicide rates, one of the highest suicide rates, and it's equally as high between men and women almost, which is unheard of. Women don't typically do that in any profession. So that really tells you there's something going on with the profession. Well, dentistry is one of those things that for you to continue to make money as a business, you have to continue to practice. Me as a marketing guy, at one point I used to run ads for my company and place the ads and do all the SEO myself and do all those things, right? I don't do those things anymore. And the less I do them, the more money I make. If that makes sense. And dentistry is the exact opposite. The less dentistry that you do, the less money that you make unless you really grow big. But you're going to make less money as you grow your company. And the more you step away from the chair, at first you're going to make less and less and less and less. So there's a lot of faith in yourself and your systems and those kind of things. So I understand why dentists get burnt out about dentistry. One of the things that really helped me with this is getting really clear on what I wanted to do. And for me, again, it's not so much the thing, it's that I get to have the flexibility to pick what I want to do. Okay. That's what helps me not get burnt out. And so for a dentist, a lot of times when you talk to a dentist, they actually don't know what they want. And I'll explain it the way I used to not know what I wanted. So when I first started the business, I did everything. I was CEO, chief everything officer. Same with the dentist, right? I did HR, I did payroll, I did sales, I did marketing, I did everything. Like I was literally doing everything. I was a single man show. And so over time, I found out really quickly, like I'm hiring somebody for this. I don't want to do data entry, right? That was one of my first hires was like, I don't want to do data entry. That's like the worst job ever. And so I'm going to hire that out. And so I knew with those jobs that I didn't want to do very quickly, but over time I was like, man, if I could just do sales, that would make me so happy. And so I went and did sales and it was exciting and I did a good job at it. But then I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. Then if I was just like, if I could just do internal meetings, just working with our team and managing our team and coaching our team, that would make me so happy. And for a while it did. But then I realized it was very repetitive. And I was like, I hate this. I don't want to do this anymore. And then I said, man, if I can just work on the marketing of SMC, that would make me so happy. And it did for a while. And then it stopped, right? And then so what happened with me is that I realized, Gary, you're great at doing these new things and getting excited about them and getting them off the ground. You're amazing at them. That was my strength. I realized that. But my weakness is I can't be the person who optimizes it, dials it in, and makes it perfect, and then manages it on an ongoing basis. That is not my strength. In fact, I get very bored with it, and I try to find reasons to leave it, and it doesn't get the attention that it needs. So I have to bring somebody in that likes doing that. And guess what? There's people out there that actually like doing that side of the job, which is awesome for me, right? And they don't like doing the job that I do where I'm just like, there's nothing here, and I'm going to create it out of thin air, okay? So I had to realize this about myself. So right now, I love what I do, but it's because I'm doing all the stuff that I picked that I want to do, and I have light at the end of the tunnel on all of them. And I don't even know what the next thing that I'm going to do. I just know there's going to be a next thing soon. Okay. So for these dentists that are burnt out, the reason that you feel burnt out a lot of times is you feel trapped. You have no options. There's no light at the end of the tunnel. If I told you right now, hey, you only have to do this for six more months, they would be able to do it no problem. 6 more months, no problem. I got this. And they'd actually get really, really happy about that. But because they don't have a light at the end of the tunnel, they have no hope. And when you lose hope, you get depressed. And when you get depressed, it really starts to affect you and everybody around you. And again, I understand it because I've been there. So what do you want to be when you grow up, Dennis? And I mean that in the most polite way. It's like, what do you want to do? Do you want to do a different kind of treatment? Start working on that and create a plan. Do you want to open up more offices? Great. Do you want to be just the leader and you just want to be the CEO of your company and you don't want to do clinical anymore? Great. Whatever it is, write it down on a piece of paper. And then also have flexibility built in. Just be like, maybe this isn't what I want to do, but right now it's what I want to do. And start working towards that and create timelines. The other thing that really helped me is, and this is so simple, but it's so impactful. Take a piece of paper today, right now, draw a line down the middle, and put hate on one side and put love on the other side. And today, I want you to write all the things that you hate doing. I want you to put it on the hate side. And all the things you love doing, put it on the love side. And I know it sounds silly, but just do this, okay? And then do this for a week. At the end of the week, go look at all the hate stuff that you don't like doing and go find somebody that loves doing it and delegate it out. And here's the thing, though, Dennis. You're a perfectionist. And you have to be okay with other people not doing it as good as you. And that's part of, this isn't just a dentist thing. This is a business ownership thing. No one's going to do the marketing as good as me. I own the business. No one's going to do the sales as good as me. I own the business. But I'm okay with people doing it 80% as good. If I can get them into 80% as good, I'm going to be okay with that. And you have to be okay with that. And you have to realize not everybody's going to love your business as much as you do because it's not their business. And that's okay. And you have to set that 80% rule in place and just start working through and start chipping away at the things you hate. And then here's what you're going to realize. Out of all the things you love doing and you get more time to do them, some of those you end up hating. And move those over to the hate list and create more on the love list and just keep building out that list. And over time, you're going to realize really, really quickly, you know what? I get the opportunity to do what I love every day. You're creating the world that you want to live in. And that's what the flexibility of owning your business gives you.
I love that. And I think we're speaking very specifically to dentists, but I think that in all honesty, I think this could be applied to really anyone in any position. And honestly, I think in our personal lives too. So I love that. Okay, guys, Gary just gave you the best advice ever. Piece of paper, love, hate, and then go from there. Gah, love it, Gary. Biggest gem dropped today. So
that's awesome. It's really worked for me. It really worked for me. It really helped me big time.
Well, I think it also helps people, in their mind too sometimes, right? Really figure it out, right? I love that you said take a week and figure it out, not just today. Because I think our feelings change. Are we hangry? Are we tired? But really taking an entire week to really think about the things that we do and determine, do I really hate this? Or is it that today I'm just really tired, right? Or I didn't get to have my morning coffee, and so I'm not feeling really peppy today. But really determining, what do we really, really enjoy doing? And then what are the things I really, really do not like doing this? There's a book out there, I can't remember who it's by, I can't picture it, but it's not how, but who,
Yeah.
It's not how am I going to do this, but who is going to do this? Because we're not good at everything, right? But there are some things that we need to delegate. And I had someone recommend this book to me in the middle of a seminar. It was great. And I love the book. Great advice, because you can't do everything, but there's someone who does love doing some things that you don't. And same recommendation. Let them do it. Let them do it. Love it. Great advice. Okay, before we wrap up, Gary, how can people find you if they want to listen to your podcast? Because if you thought this was amazing in 20 minutes today, guys, go listen to Gary's podcast. It is phenomenal. Great advice every single day. How can they find you?
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, go to our website, smcnational.com, and you'll see all of our podcasts on there, all of our virtual events, our webinars. We give away, dentists love free stuff. So we give away a ton of free stuff. And we really try to give enough information that somebody could do all of their own marketing. And then from the hopes that some dentists are like, I don't want to be a marketer when I grow up, right? That we're hoping that some dentists put marketing on their hate list and then come and speak to us about it. So just go to smcnational.com. You can also find me on the Gary Bird on all social media, and happy to talk to you. I interact with people all the time on there. And that's my job is right now. My job is literally to interact with people on social media about marketing. So that's my main job right now at SMC. And I love doing it. And so I am a dental marketing and growth nerd. So if you have any questions, any concerns, any comments, come find me. Happy to talk to you.
Yeah, and I will just add this, that Gary really loves it when you photobomb him at conferences. So if you can find him and photobomb him and send it to him, that is his favorite.
That's my love language.
Even though I don't think those pictures ever got posted, so we might have to put those up on our Decoder.
Put them up, tag me, yes,
social
please.
Media, so everyone can see our fun photobombing. Thank you, Gary. Really appreciate you being on the podcast today. You've shared such great information with our listeners and some great tools to take away as a dentist, but also I think in our professional lives, but some great personal advice too. So appreciate you doing that. As you know, at the end of all of our podcasts, we have our signature question. We love asking our guest hosts to share with our listeners, even though I think you've shared a ton of them already. But we'd love to ask you, what is a decoding moment in your career that kind of projected or trajectory took you to kind of where you are today that you can share with our listeners?
Yeah, okay. So this is a great question. And the first, right when you said it, there's something popped into my mind early on in business that I figured out. So what I figured out in business is that you have to give people what they want to get what you want. And so often in business, we just want what we want, right? I want to make this much money, or I want to buy this kind of car, this kind of house. And we work super hard to get it. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it doesn't ultimately give you really what you want, because you probably aren't being fulfilled by what you're doing. So if you want to be fulfilled by what you're doing and get the things that you want, the car, the house, the whatever, or a certain number, you have to figure out how to give people what they want. And so in the dental world, it's really meeting your patient's needs and understanding their pains and their fears and their sorrows, and then fixing those problems. And dentists are amazing at this. I wish I had the skill set to be a dentist, because I think that's a really cool thing that you get to do, is improve people's smiles and their overall health, right? All doctors. It's just amazing. For me, I happen to be good at marketing. So for me, it's helping dentists get more new patients so they can grow, so they can do exactly what I just told you. And that really is fulfilling to me, because if I want my business to grow, I have to take care of my team, and I have to train my team on how to take care of the client. If we do that, if I take care of my team takes care of our clients, then our clients will grow. And guess what? I get what I want. But I have to put the other people first. And so that's something that is counterintuitive. And the people out there that are like, man, I'm trying to make more money and I'm trying to get to where I want to go, and it just feels so hard. There's a reason for that. And it's because you're putting yourself first. And that's not how business works. Business works by putting other people first and giving them what they want and giving them what they need. And when you do that, the growth happens. Like, it just will happen. And that doesn't mean you don't have hard times and different things like that. Of course you do, and setbacks. And there's things that we have to learn. But that simple principle just really helped me to begin to understand business in a different way and serve people in a different way. And it gave me I exceeded all my goals. I've reached all my goals that I ever dreamed of, hoped for in my life, and way more. And now I'm just playing with house money at this point, right? Like, when we make goals, we have our team leadership meeting this week, and we're going to be setting goals and numbers and all those kind of things. And yeah, I want to keep growing and I want to keep doing awesome things, but I've already exceeded all of my goals. So at this point, it's like whatever goals we set now, it's house money. So that's my dental decoder moment.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I think that we've just got a ton today. We'll definitely be having Gary back again on another episode so that we can part 2 so we can get more of today from Gary. Thanks again, Gary. Appreciate you being on with us today. And until next time, thanks for being with us on Dental Decoders.
Thank you so much for joining us for this week's episode of Dental Decoders podcast. We hope you took away a valuable piece of information. As always, don't forget to rate, share, and subscribe to help us build our community of dental decoders. We look forward to seeing you for next week's episode.